on the basis of which we can distinguish between 4G and 5G. It includes speed. So the first parameter will be speed. Hello everyone, my name is Sharad Tripathi. Welcome to PrepLadder platform. In this video, we will be discussing the salient differences between 4G and 5G. Here G denotes the generation of mobile telephony. So what are the differences, the key differences between the 4th generation and the 5th generation of mobile telephony? 5G is quite in news and it is very important for your civil services examination. So let's briefly get into this technology, and I think it will be better if we have a general idea what has happened so far. Before entering into 5G domain, let's get into the basics of these generational evolution of mobile telephony. So every generation of wireless communication standards, it has brought improvements to the technology. But why is 5G being regarded as the most significant jump in the history of wireless communication? Let's look back on the accomplishments of each generation leading to this moment. When 2G networks were commercially launched, and it was way back in 1992. In fact, let's begin from the first generation itself. That's what we call 1G. It happens somewhere in late 80s, in 1980s, and 1G was basically a pure analog communication technology. It was purely analog communication technology. Analog means it's not digital, and if communication is not digital, that means you cannot overall use all the various domains of communication like internet or text messaging. All these services, they were not possible, and it was pure data, pure audio data transmission, pure telephony. It existed during the era of 1G. When 2G networks, they were commercially launched, and it was somewhere around 92. 2G was launched, and it was a groundbreaking movement for mobile telephony because this stage was digital communication. 2G was digital communication. That means all the text and associated value-added services, they were being added to, in addition to the mobile, or you can say the audio data communication. So from first generation, which was completely analog, we have moved to the second generation, which was a digital mode of communication. It opened the doors for pictures, for media messages, text, digitally encrypted phone conversations, which you can send across varying networks. Then came the third generation. In between also we had 2.5G, but it's not that important. So let's focus on important aspects. Then came the third generation, the 3G mode. And 3G was introduced somewhere around 2001, and basically in market it came around 2001, and it ushered in wireless capabilities that we are using this day. So the biggest achievement of this generation was wireless communication. And this communication was like a pure communication that includes audio as well as non-audio data transmission. So 3G virtually brought smartphone technology, which allowed us to browse the web, sharing pictures, downloading videos, and performing other functions which had been impossible before this generation. So the service providers, they had lofty goals for this generation. They sought to provide full communication, more extensive data potential, elevated data delivery, and the broadest range of applications which we have seen in history so far. Most importantly, they aimed to provide all these communication services at the lowest cost which is possible to the customers. And they achieved these goals through the development of a certain hardware technology which we call UMTS. UMTS. What was UMTS? It is Universal Mobile Telecommunication System. Universal Mobile Telecommunication System. And UMTS was basically a network infrastructure. Network infrastructure. And this UMTS network infrastructure, it basically combines the best elements of, it combines the best elements of 2G, the older generation of mobile telephony, with the newer 3G technology. So it was quite important that 3G had come, but the 2G based infrastructure, it doesn't become redundant. So the best of the two, it was overall overlapped, it was used in correlation, and that's how this universal mobile telecommunication system, it came into existence. Now, after 3G, the jump between the third and the fourth generation of mobile connectivity, mobile telephony, it was the largest jump which this mobile communication industry had ever seen. And the transition from 3G to 4G likely could not have been accomplished without the technological breakthroughs in varying industries over the prior decade. These technologies have shaped various iterations of the 4G technology, the best known of which is LTE. So, 4G became synonymous with LTE, it is long term evolution. So, as 3G was synonymous with UMTS, 4G somehow became synonymous with LTE, that is long term evolution. The flexibility and reliability which was offered by these technologies, they were previously unparalleled, and many industries immediately saw the benefits of being part of this growing much faster network, and that's how 4G became popular day by day. The most significant takeaway from this fourth generation was that it turned our smartphones into powerful computers that could fit in our pockets. So, if you have to discuss this 4G in a single line, so what we can say, it converted, transformed, it converted our smartphones into powerful computers, into powerful computers. That's how we can define 4G. And this monumental step forward was achieved by introduction of HD high definition streaming, accelerated web browsing, which we now, these days, we take it for granted. And much of the work that we perform on desktop or laptop computers, now we can perform those things on a smartphone, and it is courtesy 4G, which we all are using these days. 4G, technically, it's also the name, the very popular name given to 4G was Magic. You should be aware about this nomenclature also. Magic, what does it mean? Magic, what was it? Magic was mobile multimedia communication. Multimedia communication. A stands for anytime, anywhere. G is for global. Customized support. Global customized support. I stands for integrated wireless. Integrated wireless. And C stands for being customer centric. That means a tailor-made solution. Every client, every customer has its own requirement, and Magic, it is there to support the needs of the consumer. So, mobile multimedia, anytime, anywhere, global mobiles, global customized support, integrated wireless, and customer-centric telephone services. So that was Magic, and 4G definitely had played. It's the prevalent mobile communication that we are using. So 4G has its own importance. Now after 4G, we are moving towards 5G, and at this point, let's analyze the key differences between 4G and 5G. So what are the key differences? That's the gist of this video. If we can overall analyze the key differences between 5G and 4G. So, using the separate bands to communicate, 5G is a smarter technology. It is, let's point it also so that later on you can use it. So, we are discussing some salient properties about 5G. So, it's a smarter way of communication. It will be a smarter way of communication because of the hardware and associated software development. It's a smarter way of communication. It's more energy efficient, faster than, in fact, much faster than its predecessors, that is 4G, faster than its predecessors, and analysts, they are predicting already that it can be, the upper limit can be somewhat 100 times faster than 4G. So it will be 10 to 100 times. The upper limit is 100 times faster than the current network which we are using right now, that is 4G. 4G, we have seen in our usage that it often struggled during peak hours. 5G will allow for a higher number of users to connect simultaneously. It will eliminate network congestion. It will allow users to stream live television with little or negligible buffering. Industry experts also claim that the reduced latency and higher speed is only the tip of the iceberg for this extremely promising technology. They predict that future innovations will use 5G's improved connectivity to power some of the most significant communication advances of our generation. But still, the main points on the basis of which we can distinguish between 4G and 5G, it includes speed. So the first parameter will be speed. Later on during the video, we will, through graphics, we will overall summarize the advantages that 5G will be having over 4G. But let's understand the concepts included in this. So the first aspect is the speed. Speed is definitely one of the most highly anticipated elements of the next generation network, because every customer, every consumer want a faster and faster way of communicating to each other. So definitely this is one of the most highly anticipated elements. And 5G, as we have just discussed, 5G is expected to be nearly 100 times faster than 4G. With the speeds like that, you could download a 2-hour film in fewer than 10 seconds. Yes, you can believe this data. A 2-hour high definition film can be downloaded in just over 10 seconds with the speed which 5G is going to offer. And if we compare this to the present network, that is 4G, it takes about 7 to 10 minutes on a 4G, and it will become less than 10 seconds. So minutes will become seconds. This is the transformation that you are going to witness in a couple of years with 5G rolling down. So this rapid speed, it is not. I've given an example of downloading a movie because this is something that all of us we are doing it frequently so that we can relate. But it's not only about downloading movies or songs or books. It is much more than that. 5G will offer enormous opportunities. For instance, manufacturing experts, they are talking about the possibility of putting video cameras throughout a factory and very quickly gathering and analyzing massive amounts of footage to monitor product quality in real time. That possibility can be performed through 5G. This is the opportunity. This is the you can say in future, this is what we are going to witness through 5G. Now, these speeds are possible because most 5G networks, they are built on super high frequency airways. Why this high speed? Why is this not possible with 4G? What are the key changes in hardware interface? So the biggest difference is 5G network. It's built on super high frequency airwaves. Super high frequency airwaves. They are also known as high band spectrum. Also known as high band spectrum. Now, the higher frequencies, you must be aware about this, the higher frequencies can transmit much more data in a much faster way as compared to 4G, which is based on lower frequency spectrums. So, higher frequencies can transmit much more data. Can transmit much more data and in a much faster way as compared to 4G. But with this faster speed comes another challenge. Let's discuss that also first. So, if signals, they are traveling on these high band spectrum, which we have discussed just now, they can't travel very far and they'll have a hard time getting through walls, windows, lampposts, and any other such concrete hard surfaces. So this is the challenge with 5G. And this is a difference also between 5G and 4G. So, these signals which are traveling on high band spectrum can't travel very far, and will have a hard time getting through walls, windows, lampposts, etc., and other such concrete structure. And that is not something which is very convenient when we want the tiny computers which we are carrying around everywhere to continue working as we walk out of the subway station, down the street and into the office. If such obstructions they occur, then your communication gets blocked, and this is something which is a challenge, and that's the biggest challenge that this 5G technology has seen so far. Now, how to compensate these challenges? In order to compensate for these challenges, wireless carriers building high band 5G networks, they are installing tons and tons of small cell sites. So to overcome this challenge, 5G networks are installing large numbers of small cell sites. The size will be roughly around the size of a pizza box. Okay, so it will be comparable to this one small cell site. The size will be comparable to the size of a pizza box. And for this reason, most carriers, most of the companies who are testing the 5G technology and who are in the fray to offer these services, they are deploying 5G rolling down city by city. Because if you want this network to work, then you have to fill a city with enormous number of such small cell sites. So that's a big hardware challenge. You have to create all these small cell sites, and that's what's being happening all around the world in the cities where we are witnessing the testing of 5G technology. And experts also believe that it is probable that many buildings, they will get their own 5G cell sites to ensure that the network functions inside that building. So speed, definitely a big advantage, but along with the speed, there is a challenge of creating these hardware components. So that's also one aspect of this whole thing. The second important parameter on the basis of which we can differentiate and we can compare 4G and 5G is what we call a capacity of a communication network. The second element after speed is capacity. We have all experienced that frustrating moment when you are in a relatively small area with a bunch of people. It may be a concert, a sports stadium, or an airport, or a railway station. You are traveling during a holiday travel season, and while communicating, you will see that frustrating spinning wheel of death. But you want to connect to someone, but because of capacity restriction, you are not able to fulfill your desire. So, you want to open a web page or you want to play an Instagram video, but the capacity of 4G, it doesn't let you do that thing. Too many devices trying to use the network. in one place, definitely it causes congestion. The network infrastructure just can't cope up with the massive number of devices, leading to fewer data speeds and longer lagging time for downloads. 5G is expected to solve this issue forever. The next generation network is expected to have significantly more capacity than 4G. It means not only a better connection for everyone's phones, so you can more easily brag on social media about being at the big game. It will make it possible to connect many more devices to the network. So, capacity definitely is going to be a very big advantage of 5G. Experts, they compare the 5G network and this new improved freeway with more lanes for more cars to drive on. It's like a 4-lane highway converting into a mega highway. Enormous n number of lanes are available, so there won't be any traffic congestion at all. And this element of the update could create increased bandwidth for what we say IoT, that is Internet of Things. Internet of Things. Internet of Things, this is the next generation of Internet, which earlier Internet used to be something, it's a network of networks, and it was there to fulfill human needs. But in the present era, not only humans, they need internet. Even the devices, the things, the materialistic things, the fan at your home, your air conditioner, your television, your refrigerator, your vacuum robot, every object, everything, it needs the internet connection, a data-driven object. So, for such a scenario, obviously, 4G cannot be the final technology, and 5G definitely can take care of the various requirements which is associated with this IoT concept, that is Internet of Things. The third aspect which clearly differentiates 4G from 5G is what we call latency. This is again a very important fundamental property in communication, and there is a difference between speed and latency. You should not get confused between these two terms. Speed is something different, latency is altogether a different concept. Latency is the time it takes for devices to communicate with each other or with the server that is sending them information. So, what is latency? It is a time it takes for devices to communicate with each other or with the server that is sending these devices information. This is what we call latency, and definitely it's not the speed of communication. Speed is the amount of time it takes for your phone to download the contents of a web page. Latency is the time between when you send a text to a friend's phone and when their phone registers that it has received a new message. So these are two altogether different properties. I am repeating it again. Speed is the amount of time. Suppose your phone is downloading any book. So the time it takes to download that book from web page, that is speed of your communication network. But latency is the time between when you send a text to a friend's phone and when your friend's phone registers that it has received a new message. So latency is measured in millisecond. It is measured in milliseconds. Milliseconds. Okay, so it's not much of a problem, but all these milliseconds, when they add up, when you are sending and receiving huge packets of information for something, suppose as complex as video, like the video which you are seeing right now. So this is a huge data, and every packet, if there is a latency period, then cumulatively it becomes a big number. Okay, so and when in future we are planning to develop self-driving car, the concept of self-driving car, imagine the kind of data, the kind of communication needs you will be having, and if there is a latency, then it can be very disastrous. So keeping in mind all these future-based applications, latency is also one very important parameter, and it should be as low as possible. So already with 4G latency was quite low, but with 5G it will become almost zero. So that is also one important aspect, a difference which we are going to witness between 4G and 5G. So such new innovations like remotely playing real-time gaming. You all young guys, you must be playing a lot of games, online games, and in the real-time gaming, this 5G will help people in various parts of the world using their wireless internet connected devices, playing one game and all be on exactly the same page at the same time. So people in the different parts of world, they can be connected through 5G and they can play in real time without any sort of latency. So such applications will also become quite better, and that's also something which we can look for. So it will also be essential for other technologies like I've discussed in the past, self-driving cars, which will need to send signals about their environment over the internet to a computer in the cloud and let the computer analyze the situation, and the signals they will return to the car suggesting it how to respond to that situation. So this will be the huge data movement, and with 5G we can definitely be sure that all these possibilities like self-driving cars, they will become reality. So okay, so all these aspects, they are also very important. So let's now summarize the difference between 4G and 5G through some data matrix. So this is the first slide. It must be on your screen right now. So there are 8 specific requirements through which we can define a 5G or a 5th generation of mobile telephony. The first one is, it will be 99.999% availability, almost 100% availability you will witness with 5G. 100% coverage, that's another attribute. 90% reduction in network energy usage. So this is again, so to your energy usage in running the network components, that will also drastically reduce. Up to 10 years of battery life for low powered Internet of Things devices. So a better and improved battery life is something which is again associated with 5G. Up to 100x number of connected devices per unit area in comparison to 4G. That means the density of the devices in any area, per unit area, it can be per unit, per square kilometer or per square meter, whatever the thing is, you can have 100 times more devices connected in that area in 5G as compared to 4G. So that's another very big advantage with 5G. 1000 times bandwidth per unit area. So bandwidth will increase enormously. Latency we have just discussed, 1 millisecond latency. which is like negligible, and up to 10 Gbps data rate, 10 Gbps, 10 gigabits per second, 10 to 100 times improvement over 4G and 4.5G networks. So speed will increase from 10 to 100 times. So that's what will define 5G. Now, comparing 4G and 5G. So this image compares on essential data parameters. In reference to latency, in 4G, latency was 10 millisecond. With 5G, it will reduce 10 times and it will become almost 1 millisecond. That is, for practical purposes, there will be no latency. As far as data traffic is concerned, 7.2 exabytes per month, this much of data traffic we are witnessing in 4G. With 5G, it will become 50 exabytes per month. From 7.2, almost more than 7 times overall increase in 5G. It will become 50 exabytes per month. Peak data rates, 1 Gbps in 4G, and it will definitely double in 5G. It will become 20 GB per second. Spectrum availability, 3 GHz spectrum is available with 4G, and in 5G it will become 30 GHz. And connection density, 100,000 connections per square kilometer, that is 1 lakh connections per square kilometer. This is what is possible in 4G, and in 5G it will become 1 million connections, that is 10 times. So this is going to be a very, very interesting comparison between 4G and 5G. This term is very important, network slicing, and you should understand this. This can come in prelims as well as in mains. What is network slicing? 5G, this technology, makes it easier to split the network to tailor-made speed. You can overall divide the whole network speed into different dimensions. So you can slice the whole network. This is the concept. So 5G makes it easier to split the network to tailor speed, capacity, coverage, encryption and security by reassigning resources from one network slice to another. So in this way, network optimization can be performed, and this is again a very big advantage of 5G over 4G. 50% of network high bandwidth, typically used for smartphones and broadband. 40% of network high reliability and low latency, that is typically used for connected cars, for example, and 10% of network can be used for low energy, low bandwidth applications, and typically it can be used for various devices which you will be using back your home. So in this way, you can slice, you can segregate, you can separate the network requirements, and that will enhance your application resource utilization. So to sum up, what we can overall believe that 5G in its various parameters which we have discussed, definitely it's going to offer some more applications in various fields which we are not able to get through 4G communication, and these applications can be in the field of healthcare, in infrastructure, in public safety, and for autonomous driving. So this is the way we can overall differentiate between 4G and 5G, that is these two generations of mobile telephony, one which we are using right now and one which we are going to use very soon. So I hope you like the video, and keep posting us also various topics which you want us to prepare videos. So in that way we can be connected well. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you.